I'm delighted to be joined today by Erika Ramos, who is an R&D engineer at Airbus. Erika, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Katrina. I feel delighted to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Oh, that's fantastic. So want to find out a little bit more about you in this session. So what do you currently do in Airbus?
So my role is a bit complex, let's say. It's so I'm an R&D engineer, so I work mostly in the manufacturing side. My department is manufacturing engineering, so we're pretty much everywhere in the factory. To be more specific, I work at Airbus Broughton. So the Broughton site is responsible for the wings manufacturing. So we manufacture wings for the single aisle and the long range side. So we have families of A320s, A330s, A350. There's the composite wings one. And some time ago we had the A380, which is the the long range and big aircraft. But don't manufacture this anymore. So we focus on the wings, and we do the whole process from the beginning to the end, and then we send to another site for final assembly. So what I do is basically look for the technologies that we can implement on the shop floor to improve the processes, to reduce time of a process that takes to do something. So I pretty much do make a bridge between my department, manufacturing engineering, and the other departments. Because, for example, if we need to do a project related to health and safety, I need to be in contact with them. I need to be in contact with other departments that are connected to this. They'll be affected. So it's pretty much this. And also I have to be in contact with research and technology. There is another department at Airbus, the innovation department. And I also have to look at other sites and see what they're doing, because each site does things differently. Of course, there's some things are similar, but for example, in Spain, they do something different. In Toulouse, in France, they do different. So yeah, so it's pretty much this, and going events and see what the suppliers have available for us to implement. Looking at other business for example, car assembly, see what they've got that we can apply. So it's pretty much looking at technologies and apply them to the wings manufacturing.
Okay, that sounds like a really varied role and very challenging. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I definitely think from what you've said, you've got to be a great communicator and get on really well with people, in addition to having that technical expertise.
Yeah, that's a really big side of my role as well, because I have to keep in contact and see if they agree with this project, whether they want something different to be implemented. I have to be on the shop floor and see what they need us to be doing to improve their lives, their daily work. So yeah, it's a lot of communication happening.
Definitely. And I think when you hear the title R&D engineer, you don't fully appreciate, the role and, how many different aspects really sort of come into that position. Erika, how do you see your job changing and your career progressing?
So I just joined Airbus. I joined in February this year, so I'm still learning. So what I always hear is that, well, you have to take at least 1 year to learn things, how the system works, and then you start actually doing something. So I try to do something all the time. So I'm a bit anxious person. So I'm trying to, get along with people and see what's things to do every day. But for the future, I would like to take a leadership position. And I did mention to my manager, he supports me a lot as well. I think that in Airbus, they have this availability for us to do what we want to do, whether it's in the department, you're not department, or you're not the country, or you're not the business, because Airbus is in the satellites, is with the military, is with the defense space. So What I would like to do is take a leadership role, and I also would like to work in another country through Airbus, Germany, France, or Spain, or even US. So yeah, this is something that I would like to see in the future, of course, because now is not the best time for it.
No, that's I guess one way of sort of addressing a pandemic at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, and also I'm quite interested in the satellite, which is more related to space. So yeah, but maybe I'm looking this for the future. I'd like to, at the moment, learn a lot as much as I can regarding the department and grow, and yeah, and then going around the business and see what's going on, what I can do, what I can learn.
Yeah. And that sounds fantastic. And then again, you're getting a really good foundation where you are. And it sounds like you're making the most of the different opportunities that come along. And it's so good to have, have a sort of a plan for your career and sort of think about how you're going to get there, and to have that support from your line management is great as well. So
yeah, so Airbus has got a mentoring program as well. So they do facilitate us to know some people, for example, in higher roles, or people there for a long time, and have monthly conversations and something, and talk about exclusively our career. So that's something that I'm also looking for. And yeah, I've got a mentor already, so it's going. I'm trying to develop this side already.
excellent. I'd like to hear that, Erika. And that doesn't surprise me, for one moment, because I know from when I first met you, you just have this drive and this motivation and this passion to succeed. So it certainly seems
I was
to
almost
be
every week with you, so there's nothing less they would expect from me.
No, but you've got great potential, and I'm really pleased to see that you're
Thanks.
exercising that at the moment. So really, really good. So just thinking about Airbus at the moment, what impact do you see Airbus making on the future of manufacturing and materials within the green recovery?
Yeah, so Airbus, since I started Airbus, I can see that they're very active on this, on reducing the CO2 emissions. And so one of the main things that they have is related to the wing design. So they've got a whole program dedicated to improve the design and the materials of the wings, because it's a huge part of the aircraft. So yeah, so you can, if you look online, you can see the program is called Wing of Tomorrow. So it's a very different design, different materials, different technologies. So I used to be in a project with this department, and it used to be really good. I could see the technologies of tomorrow, happening around. And also, they recently launched another program that is related to aircraft that use hydrogen propulsion.
Okay.
So I have to read the name here because I wrote down. It's something. They're gonna launch the world's first zero emission commercial aircraft.
Okay.
So they call Zero E. You can also see online. There are loads of information available. So it's basically used, instead of the common fuel, it uses hydrogen, which is have a lot less emissions, negative emissions to the planet. And also they're investing on electric powered aircraft. And so there's a lot of things going on, and they are invested on decreasing the CO2 emissions.
Right.
So I can see Airbus really active on this side.
Right, that's great, and and again, for a global player to be making such a large impact. I think what I'm learning today is that it doesn't matter how large or small an organisation is. It doesn't matter at what stage of their growth that they're at. They can all make a positive contribution. So.
Yes.
But how great to be sort of involved in so many sort of different areas, and making that impact on the future as well. So Erika, thinking about what you do, and obviously the different opportunities within Airbus, What advice have you got for anybody who wants to start out in this field?
So at the moment, everyone has to be really patient. I have to say that I was lucky that I got this job last year. There was no pandemic, and it was really difficult for me to get this job. I had to dedicate a lot of time in preparation. So I imagine that this year, if someone doesn't get a job, is no one's fault. It's just the current scenario. So just would say, tell people to be very patient and don't give up. Keep applying, keep preparing, and if you still have access to the career support, use it as much as you can, because once you don't have this access, your life's going to be very difficult.
Well, yeah, I guess that's one way of looking at it. I mean, obviously at Cranfield we offer a lifelong continuous career service. So, you know, we are there to be providing that support, and I guess making sure that everybody, you know, believes in themselves and can move forward. Something that I just want to pick up on, Erika, you mentioned it was quite difficult for you to get this opportunity. So what kept you going? What kept you motivated and focused?
So I really wanted to develop my career in aerospace. And before I come to the UK, I looked everywhere where I could have the best opportunities, and UK was the top country for this. So I didn't know that here would be the place that I had to be in order to grow in this area. So what kept me going is that I wouldn't have the same opportunities in Brazil regarding aerospace, because here is where is the development in the area. So I just tried to get as much of experience as I could in the academic area, in the professional area. So I think that was really the different thing in me, is that I invested so much time, not just studying, but also doing things outside the university, like internships and get involved with projects. So I always try to be very strategic about things. So it was not like all luck. It's also a strategy and plan your steps, because you have to prepare for everything. Everything is a test.
Yes.
So I think is really I knew that sometime I would get something, but I also knew that I had to prepare and collect as much experience as I could throughout this path.
Definitely. And I think what you know, your words are very true, and you know what's coming through today to me is that, you know, we all need to make the most of every opportunity that's presented to us. You know, we all have to think outside the box, not just with our academic foundation, but also with our extracurricular activity, because it's identifying and being aware of those transferable skills that takes us from, you know, one environment into another as well. But, you know, clearly your determination and focus and motivation has paid off.
That's true. So what was really good as well, that during the course, I've done the aerospace materials master's degree. So I think it was 60%, 40% of the time it was dedicated to a project. So one of the projects that I've done was with Rolls-Royce, and the other with Airbus.
Okay.
And I really focused on them and getting these projects, because I knew that they were big companies, and I knew that you would give me an experience with the company, and perhaps maybe even create an opportunity to work with them, because I would know someone, and someone would see me, oh, actually this person is really good working, so I would like to have her in my team. And it is what really happened. So when I've done my group project with Rolls-Royce, at the end of the course, there was the opportunity to work with them. And I stayed with them a few months. I think it was 3 or 4 months. I worked with Rolls-Royce after my degree. And then there was this opportunity with Airbus. That was my dream place to be working at. And And it was someone that sent me the vacancy, and I just applied, and that was it. Everything happened, and it was as if it was meant to be. But again, there was this preparation behind. I've done a project with them. I saw how the company worked, and I met people. So networking is also very important in these cases.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you know, the words that you share with us, so true. You know, networking is key. We say that 70% of jobs aren't advertised. And again, I think everything that we do, indirectly, we're doing it because we want to do it. We want to make a difference. We want there to be a positive outcome, because that probably reflects who we are as an individual. But you're right, you're essentially building that foundation and then the building blocks on top to ultimately achieve what you want to achieve. And you know, you certainly set your sights, saying this is going to be my end goal. And you know, I'm delighted to see you so successful there and starting out in your career, which is only going to go from strength to strength.
Yeah. So again, networking is really important, because as you said, there are some vacancies that the company would create for you because they see your potential. So in the beginning, I used to be very shy, and I didn't know how to increase my network. I didn't know how to start a conversation. And then I remember that I used to go with, in your office, and like, Katrina, can you please teach me how to speak to people? Because I don't know. I was never taught how to do it. So yeah, it's really time. You have to lose to try to be less shy and just talk to someone about the weather or whatever. Oh, the pandemic. Now is the new topic. So yeah, and go to these events about engineering or whatever area you are. You always meet someone. And I remember that I used to go to lots of conferences and fairs, and I used to walk with my CV. And there was a time that I went to this fair, and there was this area for a company that was dedicated to materials. And I was like, oh, is there someone that I can leave my CV with? And they were like, oh, what do you want to leave your CV with us? And then he started doing some kind of interview with me. And I was like, who is this guy? And he was like, oh, would you like to work for our company? What would you like to do in your career? And I was thinking very carefully of my answer. And in the end, I was like, so what do you do in this company? And he was like, oh, I'm the owner of the company. So, I was talking to the owner of the company out of the blue, and I would never know if I wouldn't have to stop to talk to him. So yeah, it's really about it, and you have to show, of course, the passion that you've got for your area, so people can actually see that you really want to do this.
Yeah. Erika, you share so much knowledge and wisdom, because again, a great example there of why it's important to have an elevator pitch. So when you start talking to somebody, you focus on, what you want them to know, what you've achieved, and, what you could bring to their organization. So, so key. And I need to share something else with you, because at the moment we have been doing lots of introduction to the career service at Cranfield, and we have a fantastic promotional video which shows the careers fair. And it was the careers fair the year where you first started.
Success.
Yeah. And again, pre-COVID, so it's all very different, but you still get the real sort of buzz and from the actual event. But there is a little shot of yourself. You should be able to find this on YouTube now. And actually you're talking to myself, and it's great to think that was probably one of the first times we met, and how you utilize the support of the service, and really have made things happen yourself to where you are today. So that's something for you. Every time I see it, I think back to that was where it all started, and who knows where it's going to end up.
Yeah, I remember that. The career service, it was really good. It was fundamental for me to get where I am, because everything that I learned, whether it's for reading and in the Cranfield website, there's so much available. and the careers fair. I've been to I think it was where I met you for the first time. It was the careers fair, and there's so many companies, and teach us how to target the companies and what to ask them, because of course a lot of people are gonna ask the same things, but what can you make to ask something different, or what can you make to make the person look at you in with different eyes, and like, oh, this person is different. So I think that everything is available when you are studying in a Cranfield, and also take advantage of this time that you can have with you or someone in the careers area. I think that was really, really important for me, because I do remember that I went for you for my LinkedIn, I went for you for my applications and my CV. I think everything related to career, I had to ask your help, and it was what opened my eyes. And now I even help my sister, my father, because they're looking for jobs at the moment. So I'm like, oh, Katrina told me this, so you have to do like this.
Bless you. But that's what it's about. It's about empowering you guys to have the tools, to get to where you want to get to, and and becoming a success. So I'm really pleased that we gave at Cranfield University that we gave you that foundation and the ability to do that. Erika, listen, it has been a huge pleasure to talk to you today. You've given us a really good insight into your current role at Airbus, what you hope to do in the future, and just really some, I'd say, solid advice for anybody who's wanting to venture into a career within manufacturing materials. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Katrina. Thank you very much. I hope I could have helped someone. And if anyone would like to ask me questions, just reach me on LinkedIn. I'm very open to help or give any advice.
That's great. Thank you for such a fantastic offer. And I know that you will have impacted and made a difference to a lot of our participants and viewers today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.